Pry open your third eye with me, your big-headed know-it-all, polymath, Scott Spackey. And yes, change your mind, change your life. Full episodes, services, knowledge, and all you'll ever need on scottspackey.com and life-mind.com. Are you ready?
Find me where the ocean collides with the sun.
And away we go. Welcome to Pry Open Your Third Eye podcast with your host, myself, Scott Spackey, the polymath, and also my executive producer and co-host, the lovely and intelligent Chloe.
Hi, everybody.
And this is the New Year's Resolution Revolution episode. So this is a very significant episode. I've been doing this for a long time. And so how do you like that title? New Year's Resolution Revolution.
Revolutionize your resolutions.
And that's what it's all about, because something like 64% of New Year's resolutions fail within the first 60 days. That's massive. And so as a behavioral counselor that made his living off of and built a career on helping people change, modify, grow, and expand who they were and who they are, I saw that as an opportunity, this New Year's resolution, to be able to implement change and how to keep it. And so once I saw the stats that over 60% of people don't keep resolutions even though they make them, I saw again the opportunity to be able to teach people the formula for making change and keeping it. We can all make change, but very few people like to sustain it and maintain it and keep it going. So that's why I named it the revolution, because what we're doing is revolutionizing. We're doing a rebellion. We're going to reject the old status quo, and we're going to do something new and take a new mentality, a new perspective. So yeah, we want to revolutionize this formula so that we can make changes. Now, I'll tell you that one thing we're going to see consistently with ourselves and the guests we have on this episode is that you're going to hear this a lot from me as I encourage people, don't wait for New Year's. And several people are going to say to us during their sessions, I don't need to wait for New Year's. I make changes when I need to. Omkar, who's coming on, he's going to say that. And indeed, if change is a good idea, why wait? Why wait till Monday to start that diet? Why? So you can just overeat and overindulge on Saturday and Sunday? You're just creating excuses. If it's a good idea and you're going to do it, why not get it over with, nip it in the bud, bite the bullet, etc., and just begin. All about the do it now factor, you know?
Certainly, and everything that we're discussing here is applicable any time of the year, not just for New Year's.
Yeah, and
we want to change or make our habits different.
But we want to capitalize. I mean, the New Year's resolution mentality is a good thing to capitalize on, because it is kind of a mainstream consciousness that people are talking about, and so we want to tap into that, whether it's a birthday or Monday or whatever, or day of the week or whatever. We like to have a defining point, a demarcation, to be able to say, this begins now. And again, we could literally say this begins now, as in this instant. But for many of us, depending on what it is, we do need a little time to prepare mentally, physically, get things in place, you know? So that's, again, we can capitalize and take advantage of this. And as a counselor who made a career off of helping people change and grow and become something what they wanted to be, tapping into that mentality where people are more motivated because they see it again as an opportunity. Yes, change should and could happen at any time, but we're more conscious of it. And the same thing with, like, I think this is mentioned in one of our upcoming sessions that we have later, is that it's like Thanksgiving. We get together, we sit around the table, we all go around the table and say what we're thankful for. And on the holidays, during Christmas, we have more brotherly love and more love of humanity and giving and more kindness and these kind of virtues. And so obviously we should be doing it year round, obviously. But we can capitalize on that. We don't do it year round. We don't live that way. And so we have these holidays and demarcations in our calendar to remind us to bring back to center and refocus on them and apply them. So at least even if we aren't thankful like we're on Thanksgiving year round, at least we're doing it once a year. Better than nothing. And that's a lot what these holidays and things are about, is to be able to capitalize on these things. And again, whether it's a birthday or New Year's, and now for me personally, I've always felt that New Year's happens on June 28th. Do you know why?
It's your birthday.
That's my birthday. For me, that's a new year. January 1st, a completely arbitrary, random selection. It doesn't have to do with anything to do with an equinox or a solstice or any Any event that happens celestially in our universe, it's the completely random selection by some Roman emperor from, I don't know, like 1,000 years ago. It's crazy.
The power is in our collective energies and thoughts, and that we're all on the same page about this. We're all celebrating New Year around the same time, and we're all thinking about similar things. And there is power in that. However, I agree, my New Year is most of the time my birthday as well, which is in October. And that's when I've done a lot of self-transformation, and it seems to just sort of happen naturally.
Well, I like that you mentioned the collective consciousness, because that's exactly what I'm referring to, is that yes, we can tap into the fact that millions of people, billions of people around the world have this mentality to make resolutions. So therefore, we flow within that stream of consciousness. So are you familiar with the 100th monkey theory?
I am.
It is the example of collective consciousness. And so it's, in a nutshell, well, let me explain what it is, and then I'll kind of sum it up in basically a sentence, which I absolutely love. And so the theory is that on a deserted island out in the middle of the ocean, there is a troop of monkeys that live on it. There's 100 monkeys that live on an island. They're completely cut off from everybody and everything, and they live in this little community on this island, and somewhere in the distance is another island with 100 monkeys on it. But they're so far apart that they can't see each other, but close enough where they're not on the other side of the planet, but they're far enough apart where they can't actually see each other or gain vision of each other from island to island. And on the first island, one monkey figures out to use a tool, a piece of grass or a weed or whatever to stick down an anthole to get some insects, or a coconut to use as a cup. Some kind of tool begins, and monkey see, monkey do. One monkey sees this, they begin to copy and mimic, and pretty soon the entire island is got monkeys that are doing it. The other island, they're not doing it. So the theory is that once it gets to the 100th monkey, there's a collective membrane, you could say, of consciousness that makes an atmosphere. And so lo and behold, the other island that has no visual witnessing of the first island begins to do the same thing. Now, is it coincidence that they both are doing this at nearly the same time? One came first. The 100th monkey theory is that it's an idea whose time has come. That's a part of it that I love, is that it's an idea whose time has come. And once it's begun and people start to use it, it creates a collective consciousness, a web of consciousness that permeates the atmosphere, and then it spreads like a contagion. Even Einstein referred to the same thing. Listen, he wasn't the only guy working on the theory of relativity. He was the pioneer, and he was going way faster than anybody else. But it's also like the nuclear bomb, the atom bomb, back in the war. This was happening all over the planet. It was a race to see who was going to do it. And they were all on the same page, and they were very close, and very neck and neck on the race to do that. So again, it was an idea whose time had come. And this is part of the mentality that Oppenheimer finds solace in. As Oppenheimer was racked with guilt, he was very racked with guilt prior to the project, thinking, I don't know if anybody should participate in this. This is going to change the world in a very bad way in many ways. And the reasoning was, even with Einstein at the time, was somebody's going to do it. It's better us than them. We all have had the nightmares of what would have happened if Hitler would have developed the bomb first. And they were very, very close. Again, it was neck and neck. What would have happened if he developed it first? So it's an idea whose time has come. And in many ways, we're kind of rushing to be the person that does that. And in sometimes it's better because it's better it falls into this island of monkeys, than that island of monkeys.
Eventually, all the islands will be filled with monkeys doing the same thing.
Well, that's right. And pretty much almost every civilized, advanced nation on the planet has nuclear armament now. Mm-hmm. What are you going to do? Now we have that. So many of them don't, but many of them do. And so, yeah, you can't stop it. And again, it was... we're not getting into that whole debate about the ethics and morality of nuclear weapons and all this kind of stuff. It's a whole different topic, not quite fitting for here. But again, there's a lot of philosophical overtones there. And again, the point is that indeed the collective conscious, an idea whose time has come. And again, as an addict who once finally decided to put drugs and addiction and abuse behind me, and my lying and my cheating and all that shit, it was an idea whose time has come. It wasn't like I suddenly woke up one day, this is wrong. Doing drugs and cheating and lying and stealing from people? Oh, that's wrong. Oh, I didn't know that. I knew it. Of course I knew it.
So,
I was willing to see, it was an idea whose time had come. Once I saw the truth and saw the light, so to speak, suddenly I was like, oh my God, I cannot live like this anymore. What was I thinking?
I do know, because I've undergone
I'm
a
sure you have.
similar experience, but within my own life, of course. But so it almost feels as if this idea has a life of its own, whatever the idea may be, and that is it fate? Is it something, the powers that be? Is it something larger than us, or is it just the waves of time and ebbs and flow of change and of evolution?
Well, what
is this?
Now reaching into the mystical, beyond the philosophical, and the mystical overtones, vibrations, and synchronicities that exist within creation itself. And so this may not be the right episode and podcast for those areas. That's very, excuse me, that's very, again, rather mystical and very mysterious. And so, indeed, personally, again, as an astrologist, I can tell you factually, I have done the work, and so have many other astrologists. We can see the discovery of Neptune, the discovery of Uranus, the certain astrological and astronomical phenomena that are taking place at the start of World War I, the discovery of the bomb, the discovery of electricity, of light, of DNA, all these kind of things. Yes, indeed, the major events that occur, and even the minor ones, all correspond with mystical phenomena as well. Now, again, it's up to you, take it or leave it. Personally, both of us, we adhere and accept those ideas and concepts wholeheartedly. Okay? Many other people struggle with them, and that's fine. Again, I'm not trying to impose my belief systems on them or structures, but I'm simply saying that indeed the evidence is there. Personally, I can't reject it. I can absolutely see the alignments with astronomical, astrological events, and numerological. And again, as you know, I'm a mystic and spiritualist, and so I read into those things. I do it partly for a living. I'm a behavioral counselor. I'm also a mystical trainer and teacher. So indeed, it's the concept that you're proposing that this idea exists somewhere in the ether, and it's simply manifesting. It's starting to descend within the material phenomena and starting to take place in people's consciousness. And absolutely, where'd that first monkey get the idea to use the tool? Right? I mean, so that's the big clue. Where'd that first monkey get the idea? If the 100th monkey consciousness is what creates it to spread and become contagious and start to become viral, indeed. But where'd that first monkey get the idea? Well, maybe there's another 100 monkeys on another island somewhere that we don't see, that we're not talking about yet. And indeed, that brings us to the inevitable conclusion of what is the actual starting point? Where is the origin of man, humanity, etc., etc.? Again, these are big, huge topics that I don't think we want to go into quite on this particular episode. I have no fear of them, and I love going down those rabbit holes, but I don't think today's the day. But indeed, yeah, that's that, and I love that. I mean, you see how quickly it is and easy it is to get, you could say, caught in that. I mean, obviously, for me, the discussion just started. We want to go there. We want to go down that rabbit hole and find out, okay, what's the origination point? You know, where does it all begin? Where does it all start? Where does it all begin? So, but today we're talking about this New Year's, and it happens to be 2025 coming to be 2026. So we're not going to talk about eternity quite directly. We're going to do with the 100 monkeys, not the infinite monkeys. What we're going to talk about today, as we talk about this topic of New Year's resolutions, is there is a formula for change. There's a formula and a method to the madness. There are set dynamics. The brain is basically a computer. The mind is different. The mind is consciousness, and it is beyond brain, which is tissue and electrical impulses. But the brain is a computer that works on electrical impulses and certain dynamics that can be, once you understand how it works, programmed, reprogrammed, redirected, finely tuned, all kinds of things. And that's what I'm going to be presenting you today with the theory of the mind, is how to program and reprogram and redirect our mind to the ends that we want it to be at. So we can make those resolutions, make those changes, and keep them.
Keep them.
Yeah. And so we have invited several guests. We put out some feelers out there on social media, etc., and called in some favors and sent some emails out and invited people to be guests on the show and to present their New Year's resolution. And my job is, as your host and as your fearless leader, is to help them try to resolve that. And again, let me give you an example of that. I will mention this later on in the episodes as well a couple of times because it was relevant, and here it is refreshed again. So when I was touring with the Project Addiction Solution video course and book, I was going to bookstores and colleges and recovery centers and 12-step in meetings and conventions, and also was doing a lot of radio and TV. On radio, I came up with this alter ego idea, and I became the habit master. So on a radio program, the drive time and stuff, people could call in the radio program that I'm on, and they could present their habit or addiction, and I had to solve it within 3 minutes. The habit master, it was called Stump the Habit Master. If you could call up and stump me, you get some free stuff. And if you can't stump me, then I solve your habit. And so it was a lot of fun. I heard some wacky habits that people had. You've seen those shows, those reality shows about like the strange addictions and all that. It was right up there with that. I heard some very strange stuff. So, and it was challenging because I had to in live radio, I had to hear these habits that people had and give them a sensible, reasonable solution that they could apply and succeed at within 3 minutes. And I loved it.
Did anyone stump you?
No, but almost. And we'll present that in another one of the sessions that comes up. We talk about that. And so, no one. Typically, again, I knew I could do this because it's what I do for a living. It's kind of like, I don't care what somebody comes up with. I have the solution. I've probably already worked with it. So, and sure enough, one of the very first callers calls with something, and I was like, what the hell? It was very strange. I could not have anticipated it. And I'm just going to give you a little anticipation. I don't remember which session with somebody we talked to upcoming, whether it's Courtney or Omkar or who it was. But
I think it was with Courtney.
It wasn't with Courtney, and I mentioned it, I think, it a couple times because it was worth mentioning. and again, the thing is, all of our habits and behaviors work on particular dynamics and principles, and when we understand this, that's when we can start to rearrange them. When we understand how it works, then we can reprogram, we can rewrite the script, and that's largely what we're here to talk about today is the formula for being able to change this. Now, before we get started that, what I'm going to present to you is the theory of the mind as initially drawn out by John Kappas. Dr. John Kappas, he started the HMI Hypnotherapy Motivational Institute in Los Angeles. Brilliant man, way ahead of his time. And I would put him up there with I'm struggling with the other guy's name. Freud, obviously, but more Jung, who I'm more of a Jungian than a Freudian, and also Erickson. Erickson was a brilliant therapist, and he was the pioneer in hypnotherapy. And what he did was, to this day, can't be understood. They think they understand with NLP, which to me is a joke. To me, NLP doesn't work. It works on a lot of people, it doesn't work on me. And so, anyway, John Kappas was a brilliant man. Now, I stood on the shoulders of giants, as he did. We all do. What I learned from John Kappas, as I went to the Hypnosis Motivational Institute, I used it and was getting so much traction and progress and success with my clients all the time, blowing their minds with stuff with this. It began to grow and evolve. I took everything that he taught me, and then I was able to expand on it and make it even deeper and wider and on a much bigger scale. It's just, and so that's what we're going to talk about today is the theory of the mind, how it works and why. And you'll see that understanding the mind and how it functions and how behaviors are created and how they're sustained and how to change them, ain't that tricky. It's actually a very basic formula. And so much so that when you hear it, part of you scratch your head and goes like, well, fuck, I know that. Sure, you do know it, but you don't do it. And yet and even though you know it, you couldn't explain it. And once it's explained, it's like, well, that's just kind of basic and elementary. But yet I never thought of it. Maybe we didn't have the 99 monkeys before us. So I'll help you understand the theory of the mind. We're gonna do that in a few minutes. But real quick, let's have a little bit of fun. Chloe?
I'd like to introduce our upcoming guest.
Oh, okay, yeah. Why don't you tell us who's coming on, who's going to be on the show with us?
Yeah, we have some great people that we chatted with, and one more that we have yet to.
All right.
First, we've got Omkar. He's 31, a solar engineer, and he lives in Austin, Texas. He was talking to us about seeking some self-improvement, and he's also has been chatting with you about relocating in terms of his career and changing some of those.
Yeah, let me add something to that. So we had a good conversation with Omkar just the other day, and we recorded that and helped him with some New Year's resolutions. And interestingly enough, this morning I spoke to him, and he had texted me overnight or something, I guess, and said he had a question. And so this morning I went and called him. We caught up for a minute, and not only is the things that we talk about in this session relevant, but also he is in the middle of a huge career shift and relocating possibly to another place to live. And so it's been a big, I don't know if I want to say weight or burden. It's a big decision. This is a guy that's lived in the same place in Austin, Texas for a long, long time. And now he's thinking about moving to an entire new city or state, having a whole new lifestyle, leaving everything he knows behind, and also experiencing some shifts in his career too, because he's kind of growing and expanding in his capacity in his company, and also because he's having some doubts about them. So it was refreshing to see that. Again, I always kind of get off on helping people make these decisions because I love seeing the lights go on when we discuss it, and I say something that's kind of like smart and bright, and I can hear and feel the tumblers falling into place, and I can see them just kind of being excited about that and feeling safe and secure again.
Mm-hmm.
All right,
That's
so who else do we
exciting
have?
for him.
Yeah, I think so.
So then we had Pilar, and she's in her 40s. She lives in the Los Angeles area, and she is looking to get in shape, do some self-care, and she's also looking to do some spiritual development.
That's great. And this is partly because as we put out feelers to invite guests to the show, what we did is ask people, I suggested and I offered them to come up with two. One for basic self-improvement, like losing weight, getting in shape, or something like that. And another one for something more deep and more personal. And so Pilar's the classic example. She wants self-care and self-improvement, fitness and weight loss and those kind of things, but also spiritual development. And what we will talk about is that this goes hand in hand. You improve one area of your life, it automatically affects and improves the other area of your life. You get encouragement, you get motivation, you get progress, you get, that's not the word I'm looking for, you get trajectory, I guess you could say. Once you start to make some change, when you start to have some motion and progress in them, it becomes easier, more motivational to continue and go into others. So Pilar's a classic example of that. Ideal. I'm always going to try to encourage people to, again, go a little bit deeper. Yes, lose weight, get in shape, all those kind of things. But also, what about your mind? Again, yes, let's take care of the brain and the body, but also let's take care of the mind and the spirit.
After Pilar, we're going to speak with Dana, whom we have yet to talk with, and so we're not sure what his resolution will be. Dana lives in Florida, and he's in his mid-50s, and we're looking forward to finding out what he wants to change in his life.
I wonder if he'll stump me.
Yeah.
There's a part of me that's like afraid that somebody will, but then I'm going to get excited because I'm like, I would love to be stumped. I would love to hear something that maybe, well, I have no idea about that. I don't know, because I'm not easy to stump. So I like being challenged. So yeah, I guess we'll find out.
That's for any of you out there who have a really strange or interesting or challenging habit you want to change. Come and challenge Scott. See if he can help you.
Yeah, challenge me. And I'll tell you, you'll absolutely, if you can stump me, I'm going to give you, I don't know, books, counseling, whatever. I'm going to give you stuff, because if you can stump me, then I invite you. I'll take that challenge on. And by the way, just so you know, which Chloe, I wasn't sure you're aware of, I also had a follow-up conversation with Pilar, okay? And I did that this morning, actually. And so, because many of the people that we have on, when I saw what their resolutions were and we heard about them, I wanted to help them. And so I gave them my own programs and solutions. So, for example, with Pilar this morning, you'll see in the episode, you'll hear it in the episode, is that I said, Lex, I want to give you something for being a terrific guest on my show, on this episode. I'm going to give you a choice. You can either have my fitness and weight solution video course, which is 10 weeks of hypnotherapy, training, and instructions on how to get fit and lose weight, or you can have a free consultation for spiritual development, a full session with me to understand what your spiritual goals are and what I can prescribe to you to be able to achieve them. And so which one do you think she chose?
Oh.
Now I'm testing you.
Yes, I was not able to make it to the session with her, and so I'm not as familiar with her.
I know. That's why
Personally, I hope that she chose spiritual development, but it might be more attainable to work on the physical. It might seem like it's more doable to do the physical things.
Right. And I'll tell you, it depends on the person. Some people, I'm not even going to give that option. I'm going to give them something that's particular to what their mindset is and what they're focused on, such as getting well and getting fit and getting in shape or whatever it might be, quitting smoking or something like that. And so some people, so knowing her and after talking to her for a while, again, having both those resolutions in her mind, yes, I'm hoping she chooses spiritual development, but I'm not encouraging her for either one. I want to have a free choice. She chose spiritual development.
Cool.
So I'm looking forward to being able to sit down with her And that, again, that's my gift to her for coming on the program, and because we're all going to benefit. Anybody that listens to this, the whole point is that whether your resolution is the same as these other people's you're here on this broadcast, doesn't matter. What I'm giving you is a formula. I'm teaching you how. Again, I'm not giving you the fish, I'm teaching you how to fish so you can apply these and adapt them to your resolution. That's the main theme here. All right, who else will we have?
Our final guest is Courtney, and she is 47. She lives part-time in Maine and part-time in Philadelphia. She talked to us about stopping smoking and also then using her energies to express herself more creatively.
And I'll tell you, Courtney is an absolutely lovely person we both adore. And she's just sweet and gentle and smart and kind. And I just absolutely adore her and wish more people in the world were like her. And indeed, the smoking cessation for me, again, is a walk in the park. And so, number one, I can say, here, take my smoking solution course. It's a 6-week course, it's a 7-session course, and it'll solve it. It's guaranteed, money back. That's how confident I am. It works every time. Do the course, it's going to solve your smoking. And you're not even going to quit and go, and you're not going to suffer through it. It's going to be pretty easy. The expression thing for her has always been an issue. We have talked to her in the past when we had the spiritual workshops going on, and the prior podcast, and she struggles to express herself, and which is shocking to me because of all the people, she has such great ideas and great love and great care and such a sensitive and tender person. Many other people have no problem expressing them, and they should shut the fuck up. You know what I mean? The people that have no problem expressing, I mean, I don't have any problem expressing myself. I will tell you exactly what I mean and what I want to say at any given time. I have no problem expressing, and again, I probably shouldn't. Maybe I should have a shock collar on. And that's kind of why I always want you here, because you're hopefully you can manage me a little bit and contain me a little bit if I get out of control. You know, the nice feminine touch. You're a sensible person, and so yeah, there's a part of my subconscious, like I have a little governor on that says, you know what, you're in mixed company here. Be polite. Be cool, man. Let's pause for about 40 seconds so I can share something very cool with you. Change your mind and change your life. Break bad habits, solve addictions from alcohol to ecstasy, shopping to sex. Solve anxiety, depression, confidence and motivation. Find direction and purpose. Life is bright when it is good and we are living to our potential. Life is long and dull when our potential remains dormant. Your potential and purpose are already inside you and waiting for you. It doesn't need to be created. It needs to be uncovered and revealed. My services include live counseling, video courses, books and mentoring through email and text. Visit scottspacky.com for your options. Let's get started. Are you ready?
Well, what I think is interesting with Courtney's case is that she's very self-aware. And I think she's always asked really interesting, fascinating questions. And I've known her from previous workshops we've done together. And so I've been able to observe just that. And so I don't think that it's necessarily she has trouble expressing herself, but perhaps we all have certain areas or certain aspects that we find really challenging. And maybe we want to channel that creative expression. And it's hard to face emotions in ourselves. We can talk about the things that go on around us, but to really explain what's going on in our minds and in our hearts, sometimes that can be far more challenging than observing somebody else.
Right.
And so I think she's got what it takes. And so sometimes we just need to, like you said, this sort of trajectory and motivation. I liked those two words together, that there's this something for us to reach for and feel motivated by within ourselves, to recognize the light that we have already and that we can really evolve on that instead of thinking, I don't have this. We do. We have it in us.
I think that's the key critical part with Courtney, is that you and I recognize right away that she is smart and she should be the one that's speaking up. But she, as you just said, she feels that she's not qualified, which is, again, ironic because she's humble, she's sweet, she's nice, she's smart, but she's also very insecure. And so therefore, she doesn't think that she has a right to speak up and speak her mind.
I know what that's like sometimes.
Right?
But here I am, speaking my mind and challenging myself, just even being here.
Yeah.
That I've got something that may or may not be worth hearing.
Well, and that's kind of, again, even our dynamic. I mean, our work together, is it just that? Whatever, I'm always almost daring you and encouraging you to dip your toes in the water, take a step out of your comfort zone and sample it. See what happens. And if it doesn't hurt or bite you, then why not try it again? maybe it's going to be rewarding. If it's not rewarding, stop doing it. But why not try it before you say, I don't like this or it's not right for me? And again, with Courtney, she has always felt throughout her life is that she doesn't express herself. And whether it's poetically, artistically, or just verbally, she doesn't speak her mind. And it is not just speaking her mind. Again, it's more creatively as well, her creative expression. And she has such a creative spirit. I can only imagine the art that is locked inside of her that needs to come out. Whether it's poetry or writing or singing or music, I don't know. All I know is that whatever she has within her, if it came out creatively, I'm sure it would be absolutely beautiful.
Agreed.
And I can tell you this, if she heard what we were saying about her, she would absolutely hate it. Because there's a fine line between insecurity and humility, you know?
Well,
they're not the same thing.
Well, I would say all these things to Courtney whether she was listening or not. So
That's right.
That's true.
And
I'm
that's
sorry,
what I mean.
Courtney,
Yeah,
we're talking about you.
she wouldn't feel attacked or bad about it. She would she's humble. I mean, I don't think she would have a trouble believing that people think that highly of her. And there's a lot of people like this, you know? I mean, as I often refer to my son, the firefighter hero, he's a very humble guy. He's also very confident and very assertive. I mean, this guy, you got to be. When you're a firefighter and you're on the front line, what you're doing there, and by the way, this just came in yesterday. He got promoted from squad leader to, I don't even know what the new title is, got promoted. So he is a leader. He's got to be able to delegate. And in those hot spot moments, you can't sit and think about it. You can't worry about somebody's feeling. It's get over here and do this or do that, because otherwise somebody's going to die. Literally in his job. Somebody's going to, yeah, if you don't do this. And so he's got to be able to delegate, and he's got to be able to assert himself and express himself in a very fine point. And let me tell you, he's the first one to tell you he's not a very articulate guy. And so he has another way of expressing himself, and that's just it. I think that, and what I encourage with Courtney, what we'll talk about in her session, is just that. I wouldn't want her to feel stifled or contained because she's not willing to speak up. Choose not to speak, don't speak, whatever, but let it be your choice, not driven by some subconscious fear that you can't even really identify. I don't want to censor you. Mm-hmm. Again, we have a world filled with people that are speaking their mind that shouldn't. They have no filter. And here's so many people that have too big of a filter that have a lot to say that we need to listen to, you know?
Yeah.
So that's great. We got some good guests. And yes, we have already recorded most of these as we're talking about this part right now. We're giving you an insight of what's coming up, and they're all pretty fascinating, and they're much like what we're doing now. That's just very casual and informal. We're just having a conversation. We're talking about change, and I don't know what we're going into when each one comes on, and my job is to kind of figure that out, and that's what I do. I like to think that I'm a solution finder. That's why I call my video courses like the Addiction Solution, Project Addiction Solution, the Sleep Solution. Got a sleep disorder or sleep issue? Take this video course. Again, guaranteed. It's very inexpensive, and it'll absolutely solve it. And I know this because I have like 100% success with it. I have like 89, 98% success rate with it. And I'm confident about it. And I'm not boasting about that in that kind of braggart way. It's something that I'm so proud of in the sense that I'm just so proud and happy that I've created something that actually gives people results and relieves their suffering. Because everyone that I've met that I created these things for, that inspired these creations for my courses, are people that came to me after spending mortgage money, life savings on recovery treatments that did not work and left them broke and in despair wondering, what do I do now? And that pisses me off. So let me bring up my little topics here. So there we go. Now, one more thing before we get into the theory of the mind. You're going to love this one. I think you've been dreading it. You know I'm going to ask. Chloe, you know it's coming. What's your New Year's resolution?
Okay. I have a really bad habit of swearing a lot, and we all can, not we all, I know.
Wait, why is that a bad habit? I love swearing if it's done well. I love swearing. Why is that a bad habit?
Because I don't have a filter, and I have a 4.5-year-old.
Okay, so it's not that you swear, it's when you swear. It's about the timing.
Yeah, and I probably overuse. You know, sometimes I think that
Let me ask you this.
A good F-bomb can be really more effective when it's used sparingly.
Yes. Yeah, it has to punch.
Right.
So that's my fault. My question to you is, do you swear well? And to give you a quick example, my mom could not swear for shit. My mom said the F word once my entire life. When she did, she was really angry, right? Yelling at us. And she said the F word, and we all, three of us, my brother, my sister, and I, we stopped, looked at each other, and broke up fucking laughing.
Yeah. I was going to say.
Because it just sounded so weak and so amateur, so she could not swear well. Everything else she swore, she was good at swearing, but the F bomb she couldn't do it. So do you swear well?
Well, I think I can, but it's also, I think it's excessive. I think it's overused. So
It does become kind of a lazy way where we can just,
yeah.
we can drop those things in there to make emphasis. We're not bothering to be more creative and more articulate.
Yeah, that's true. And I also use a wide variety in my vocabulary of non-swear words, but I could get more creative for sure. And it's just a poor example for my daughter who says, she said to me, I don't want to say those words because once I start saying them, I know that I won't want to stop.
She said that?
Yes!
Wait, how old is she?
She's 4.5.
She's
She
4 years
said
old.
this
She
months
said
ago.
she said this wise sage thing.
Yeah,
That's a very well-formed thought.
I know.
Holy
I
shit.
stopped in my tracks and I was like, that's the type of stuff I talk to Scott
Is
about.
that what triggered your need to make a resolution? Because that'll stop you dead in your tracks. That'll be like, oh my God, I'm ashamed.
No, that is not. I mean, that was months ago even. She's a smart cookie and she teaches me every day. She keeps me in line. She really does. Yesterday I was being a little
Out of the
grouchy.
mouths of babes.
Yeah, I was being kind of grouchy towards someone yesterday, and that's a kind way of putting it. And she called me out and said, you can't be mean to them. Like, we're nice to people.
And she said it all like nice and soft too, didn't she?
Oh yeah, she
So
doesn't
were
swear.
you being a B? Were you being a B or were you being a C? How bad was this? Were you being a B or a C?
I'll
Don't say you don't know. You know, goddamn. Which one were you being a B or C?
I'll say it was B because there was reason for me to be frustrated, I think.
You know what? I like that distinction because yes, C is just rampant destruction. So yeah, B would be A. At least I was justified.
Yeah, I'd like to say so, but maybe I wasn't. And in the end I said, Claire, you're right. You're right, sweetie.
Okay, so your resolution is to what? Stop swearing, to clean it up? What? Well, be more specific.
Okay, I think I'd like to clean it up, at least to start, to have more of a filter, and to be... The issue is a self-control issue, really. So, have a little more self-control.
Right, I think that it comes down a lot to having conscious awareness of when to swear and what to swear and how to swear. Anything. It's really about, rather than just, if I'm tired, if I'm not thinking clearly, if I'm overwhelmed, then I'm just swearing because, again, I'm lazy. It's because I'm not going to put in the time and effort to be articulate.
Yeah, certainly. I can be articulate and calm and
Fucking A, you
express
can.
myself in a great way. Or when I'm angry or overwhelmed, because it comes out in the form of anger most of the time when I get overwhelmed. Yeah. It's a lot of F-bombs and not really the way I want to be in general.
Okay, so that's a great resolution. I admire that. I respect that. You're not going to get the session as the other guests did today. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about that in the near future, and in a future episode, I will update everybody on Chloe's progress for her swearing cessation resolution. How would we call it that? The swearing cessation resolution.
Well, am I ceasing or am I?
Yeah, I caught that too. Let's say the swearing modification resolution.
There we go. Modification.
The SMR. It's the SMR. The swearing modification resolution.
Yeah, that sounds good.
All right.
Keep you
So
updated.
we will discuss that offline at some point in the future, and it will be that's your practice. Do you have any others?
Oh, I have slews that I'm working on every day, all the time, and they certainly are
Give
wrapped
us one more.
Well, I actually did kind of mention it. When I do get overwhelmed, my go-to is anger, and then I end up expressing myself in ways I either regret or I'm not proud of, in a way that I certainly don't want to. I don't want to walk around being angry all the time. So
You want to sit down and be angry all the time? But
I'm a mover. and a groover. But yes,
no.
I can sit, I can walk, I can run, and I can be an angry person, and I don't want to be.
Can you chew gum and be angry at the same time?
You should see how I would chew when I'm angry.
Yeah, boy, can I! I can chew. I can chomp that shit. Yeah, give me some angry gum.
Yeah. I think it's interesting. I mean, even with this example yesterday.
Maybe you need to channel all your energy into creating an angry gum, creating a product. Get in the laboratory and get creative. Make an angry gum would be a great product.
It would cease your anger?
Yeah, that's just it. You chew the gum and you stop being angry.
It's a relaxation gum.
It'd be a very violent treat.
Yeah.
All right, I'm interrupting. I'm having fun with it. I'm just having fun with it. Okay, so this is kind of tied together. You've got your swearing thing with the anger thing. I'm going to push you a bit further. I'm going to push you away from that and give me something from the other ends of this. We already mentioned the priority for you and me and some people, not everybody, about spirituality. Do you have any type of resolutions or goals this coming year that you can use, that you can capitalize on the 100th monkey consciousness to be able to make some changes and make some commitments?
Well, I've recently we mentioned satsang. We will talk about that with Omkar in our upcoming parts of these episodes to give a little context for this. But
you dropped the word now, so you got to explain what satsang is because most people don't know.
That's all right. Well, it's kind of like church, kind of.
Yeah. Yeah, what does satsang mean?
Yeah, for me, and what I'm referencing is that I've met some people recently who get together and they sing kirtans and they do prayers, and it's sort of like a house church, except it's called satsang. And I've gone once, and I will be going again to the next one. But this is something that's certainly out of my comfort zone. It's something that's new to me. I grew up going to church, non-denominational churches, and grew up as a Christian. And in the last 2 years, I've been exploring Sanatan Dharma and some far more Eastern philosophies and faiths that have kind of opened up a lot of these things I've thought about all my life. And the practices of devotion are something that I have always done in my life. I've always had a relationship with God. I've always had a very personal relationship where it seemed, I'd search at all these places with these churches or these other religions, and it always seemed to come back to, well, it's between me and God, and it being really personal. And that continues to be, but it's on my mind every day and all the time. And
well, let me consolidate, if I may. You have no discomfort or out of your comfort zone issue with the spirituality itself, so much as the satsang is the community, social aspect, and the kind of work, the discipline that it takes to kind of go there and all that the external stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's also, it is relatively new to me as well. We're speaking in different languages.
But you're already recognizing you feel that this has a good value to it, so you want to explore it and experiment with it to see what you can get out of it. And so basically kind of the resolution would be that you want to commit to this to make sure that you explore it properly so that you can see whether it's good for you or not, ultimately.
Yeah, sure. That sounds good. I definitely want to follow through. I want to try it out more than once. It is, I'm an outsider in a lot of ways, and going to a community that's already been established for, I think, 2 years of them getting together as well. So there's a lot of things to put myself out there. I'm going drive distance. I'm going to be in someone else's home. I'm going to be doing things I'm not entirely familiar with and customs I'm just learning and getting used to.
A whole lot of reasons, a whole lot of reasons to be able to rationalize and say, I don't really need all this. I don't want to do that, and just kind of skip it and bypass it and not to get the benefits of it. And of course, because we know each other and we talk a lot spiritually and work a lot together in spiritual areas, I'm always going to be there to motivate you and push you and even shame you and guilt you a little bit.
Just a little.
Absolutely. I have before and I will again, and as you're going to see in these upcoming conversations, with Courtney particularly, I absolutely am not afraid to use a little bit of shame and guilt, and I want people to use it for me too. When people shame me and guilt me, whatever it's going to take to get me to wake up, see what I need to do, and actually commit and actually pull it through and do it. And so
every mother wouldn't have used the guilt trip in of history if it
That's
did.
right. It ain't just Jewish mom. It ain't just Jewish moms. No, but no, it's across the board, and it's our obligation.
I'm guilty too.
It is a parental obligation to do whatever we need to do as leverage to cause these things. As a matter of fact, that's a great way to segue into the theory of the mind, because we're going to talk about exactly that. All right. Want to jump into the theory of the mind?
Sure, let's do it.
All right. Let me bring up a little visual on my end so I can keep track of it myself. All right. We're going to jump right in. Theory of the mind. Number one. And I've said this before, and I'll say it again, and we'll say it several times throughout this broadcast. If change were as simple as making up our minds, we'd all be perfect. Real simple. We know what we want to be. We know who we want to be. We know how to do it too. I want to be fit. I want to be healthy. I want to be strong. I want to lose weight. So there it is. We know it. We know what to do. I need to eat less. I need to exercise. I need blah, blah. And yet we don't. So if change were as simple as making up our minds, we'd all be perfect. And that's where I come in. As a mentor and teacher and counselor, it ain't as simple as making our minds. We need strategies. We need a formula. Now, let's understand how the mind works. Of all of your thinking and feeling, only 12% of it is in your conscious mind. Your conscious thinking is only 12%, which means 88% is your subconscious. That's overwhelming.
Yeah, it is.
This means that of all the things that you think you're in control of, it's only a fragment of it. Subconscious is influencing and or deciding on its own 88% of all your decisions, thinking, and feeling. Let me give you an example. Let's say you go to the store to buy some shoes. Let's say you go with a friend to buy some shoes, okay? And your friend picks out some shoes that are, oh my God, ugly. Big, shiny, giant lime green things with red lace. They look like clown shoes, right? And they love them. And you're thinking like, what in the hell is making this person want to buy these clown shoes? I'm like, I love them. They look great. Now you're thinking to yourself, I'm not going to touch that. I'm going to get these nice sensible shoes that are brown and match my belt. Okay? Hold on. So what's happening is this. What's influencing someone's decision? Let me give you a very dry example of this. The person that wants the loud clown type shoes is because they want to be acknowledged. They want to get attention, okay? They don't necessarily know that on a conscious level, but subconsciously is influencing their decision to choose and make selections that support this ultimate goal of getting validation, external validation. You follow me? Mm-hmm. Okay. The person that wants the shoes that match their belt, it'd be more subdued, they have a different motivation. They want to be less valid. They don't want external validation. They're not comfortable with that external validation. So therefore, they're trying to kind of shroud and hide away. That doesn't mean that they may be insecure, but it still means they're not comfortable with external validation. Follow me?
So they might not necessarily be insecure, but they aren't motivated by external validation?
That's right. They're not seeking that. That's not their primary motivation. They don't feed off of that. Okay. So my point is that, without getting into too much of the science here, to keep it kind of basic, is that something as simple as buying shoes is influenced 88% of our subconscious. So the motivation, wanting validation or wanting to avoid validation, is in the subconscious. Consciously, we don't know. Why do you like those shoes? I just do. I like them. I like the color. They're loud. I like them. You ask people again, why? Specifically, what do you like about them? I don't know. I just do. That's the most common answer, literally. I don't know. I just do. They just fit me, you know? And so that is because only 12% of our conscious knows why. The real reason why is 88% is in our subconscious. We can't access that. So, rule number one, keep in mind that only 12% of your thinking and feeling is in consciousness, and 88% is in your subconscious, which is influenced by everything that's ever affected you throughout your entire life. From childhood up to this present moment is influenced by that. That's what makes up your subconscious mind, is all of your experiences and events that lead you up to this very moment, the eternal present. Now, I already mentioned to you that over 60% of resolutions fail within the first 60 days. I think it's 30 days, actually. A majority of them never make it past 3 months. We're going to talk about a bit later. We also talk about the big resolutions being, the most popular ones being lose weight, get fit. Gym memberships and gym facilities, the public gyms, make bank on New Year's resolutions. They know they can sell all kinds of memberships that people are never going to actually use. So why is it that we make these resolutions, but we don't succeed at them? We don't sustain them. Let me give you a little bullet point list. Hopefully, people are encouraged to take notes, because this normally costs you a lot of money in private session to find out. Number one, we take on too much and too many things at once. Oh, it's New Year's. I'm going to lose weight, start working out, quit drinking, quit smoking, save money, blah, blah, blah.
That sounds overwhelming.
That's right. Too much and too many. Now, it's great motivation. We're thinking like, yeah, I'm going to change my life. But what's happening is subconsciously Subconscious. Consciously, we're like, I'm going to change my life. I'm going to change my mind, change my life today. Subconsciously, our mind is already setting up failure, sabotage, by making us think be overly motivated to take on too much and too many things at once. Because the subconscious mind knows you better than you know yourself. It knows that you can't actually pull that off. So it's encouraging and saying, yeah, do it all. Quit smoking, quit drinking, save money, get fit, stop eating donuts, blah, blah, blah. Today's the day, first day of the rest of your life. We need to be careful that since 88% of our thinking and feeling is within our subconscious, it's influencing what it is we're deciding on and how we're doing it. So we're not constantly choosing to do too much and too many things at once. Our subconscious is back there saying, that's right, take it all on. Take it all on so that you won't be able to succeed. Now, why would the subconscious do this? That's going to be coming up next in the next category. And that's a big one. But first, let's stick with the why we don't sustain them. We make unrealistic goals and expectations. We make goals that are either too flexible or too rigid, creating a formula for failure. Let me give you some examples. Unrealistic goals and expectations. I'm going to lose 50 pounds by tomorrow. At the end of the month, I'm going to stop cold turkey kind of stuff. It's just not realistic. Goals that are either too flexible or too rigid, creating a formula for failure. Too flexible. I'm going to lose weight. I'm going to start working out. What does that mean? It's very vague. If you called up to make a doctor's appointment or any appointment anywhere, at a bank, at an office, anything, and you said, hey, I want to come and see a professional and need some help with something, and they said, okay, when do you want to come in? You say, tomorrow. They say, okay, come in the morning. You'd say, okay, when? Say, sometime in the morning. It's too flexible, not set enough. It's too vague, too ambiguous, right? There's no way to keep that commitment because it's far too misunderstood, far too vague, or it's too rigid. We create goals and expectations that are so locked in. I'm going to lose 5 pounds a day starting now. That's too rigid. We don't know if we can meet that expectation. So when we are creating goals that are either too flexible or too rigid, that's again our subconscious mind creating a formula that's going to sabotage the process. Why is it doing that? That's coming up next. Another one, why we don't sustain them. We do not have structure to our goals. We commit and think in ambiguous and abstract terms, which I already gave an example of. I'm going to stop drinking. I'm going to eat less. What exactly is less? That's a very relevant relative term from person to person. Less. I'm going to work out more. What do you mean more? What days? How much? We need to be very specific. When we're not creating specific details for our formula, this is our subconscious mind fulfilling its job to protect the behaviors that already exist. That's its job. We're going to be getting into that. So first, let me address those things that we just went over. Then I'm going to get into what it is that the subconscious mind does and why it does it. We just went through those items as to what makes them fail. Now we get into the strategy for change. Keep goals firm but flexible and realistic. Keep goals firm. Instead of, I'm going to start working out more, which is very vague and ambiguous. Nothing's locked in. It needs to become, I'm going to work out Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 2 o'clock for 1 hour. That's set. That's good. We can rely on that. But it needs to be somewhat flexible and realistic too. Are you available on Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 2 o'clock? Did you look at your schedule? So that's the realistic part. The flexible part is, what if something comes up? What if somebody calls? What if something emergency happens? What if something comes up that we cannot keep our commitment to? We need to be able to be flexible enough to be able to say, well, my 2 o'clock workout got interrupted, but I'm also going to adjust it. I'm going to make it for 4 o'clock instead today. We need to right away do the damage control and rein it. Second one, we must have a tiered stage-by-stage process to succeed. Cold turkey kind of changes rarely, if ever, work. I'm going to stop eating junk food as of today. I quit smoking right now, the cold turkey thing. I've worked with a lot of people over many, many years now, and what causes things to fail is that people take on, again, too much, too many at once. Stage by stage, a process. This is what we do to everything else. We don't say I'm going to earn $1 million, I'm going to save $1 million by the end of the month, do we? No, it's going to be, I'm going to save $10 a month, $10 a day, whatever. A tiered stage-by-stage process. We need to be able to see it and be able to write it out. Here's another clue. Here's another factor. Begin with the easiest, not the most urgent. I have people coming to me, especially on New Year's, and again, they want to quit smoking, quit drinking, stop overspending, stop overeating, all these kind of things at once. Now, my job is to help them succeed. So I've got to prioritize. They'll say, well, I got to quit smoking because that one's dangerous, that one's unhealthy, that one's killing me. But I will often encourage them to begin with the easiest one Not all of them all at once, because again, we can't do too many things all at once. So that's a recipe for failure. We begin with the easiest because as we progress and make success with this, it builds some momentum and encourages us to strive for more. We begin to build our confidence, we begin to build our strength and our motivation. Make sense? Mm-hmm. Right. So
What would be an example of something that's easier?
depends on the person. For example, with your swearing resolution, there's a whole lot of swear words. There's 7 main ones, right? Fuck, shit, goddamn, hell, blah, 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 et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So which one is your most go-to? Is the F word your main go-to?
Probably.
Okay. Which is the one you would use the least?
It's the most percussive.
Okay. So which is the one you use the least? I stumped you. You can't pick because you're like, I use them all a lot.
Well, no, because I actually was just thinking, when I was really sort of out of my own control and sort of at my worst, I was swearing more, and I can recognize that today I don't use the C word the way I was when I was very angry, and I'm glad of that, and I can have more self-control. And when so I can see that I actually have already made this decision that I want to do it less, and I have already applied it in certain regards. And so although I know, it might seem like I'm going to quit right now and I'll just stop swearing altogether, in this moment I'm recognizing, okay, I've already done some work towards this, and if I can show myself I've done that, then I can continue to
Right.
progress.
So instead a tiered stage by stage and easiest working up to the worst is a more safer formula. So, and let's get away from swearing because it's a rather ambiguous area. Instead, let's talk about anger. Okay. So let's say that stages of anger. Let's say at my worst, I'm breaking shit. I'm smashing. That's at my worst. And let's say the other softer versions of that is that I'm frustrated. I'm angry, I'm maybe swearing, but I'm not breaking anything. So on one end of the spectrum, we got some swearing and some expression. On the other end of the spectrum, we got smashing and breaking stuff. I'm just giving this as an example. I'm not saying you're doing it, I wouldn't know, but I don't think you are. So just as an example. Well, instead of saying, what we might do is work from the earlier stages. Well, let's start with the easy one and work your way up. Pick one that you can control. Pick one that you can work on and use that one as your model and as your template. Get that one under control. Manage that, and again, because here's the third point, the final point on that same page. Use the momentum and confidence you gain in earlier successes to propel you through the more difficult stages. Because as you take on the next level of challenge, this swear word or that anger expression, whatever it may be, you think, oh my God, I'm exhausted, I can't do this anymore. I don't think I can make that next one. You can remind yourself, yeah, but I didn't think I could do this one, I did it. So I did one already. I did the easy one, so therefore I can build on that momentum. And that's the secret, is to build on the momentum. This is why, if we can, we choose the easiest and work our way up to the more difficult ones. We want a progressive formula for changing behaviors and solving habits. Now, here's another very important point. Develop an intimate relationship with your goal. This is critical. Client after client comes into me and says they want to change things. And I say, why? I want to get off drugs. I want to stop this. I want to stop gambling. I need to stop this. It's destroying my life. Why? Because it's bad for me. Again, too vague and too ambiguous. You don't have an intimate relationship with it. You need to understand it completely. I want you to be passionate about it. The things that you're passionate about, you can succeed at. You'll put the time and the effort into. The things you're indifferent about, you're not going to work that hard for. So what I work with in session with people is help them to develop an intimate relationship with what it is they want to change. What is wrong with this behavior? What does it truly cause damage to, and how? Feel that till it makes you almost weep and cry. You should feel the pain for that, and what will you get if you change it? How good will that feel? Not just to pull it off, but how will it change your life? Do not just think about, oh, it'll make my life better. Oh, I'll lose weight, I'll look good. But in what way? I want you to feel, not just conceptually. I want you to feel what that's going to be like. So you can build an intimate relationship with it. So you can build on that. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Now, I have some stages, some success examples here. We're going to get past that. We're going to move on. Now, every behavior you have, every habit, every addiction, every behavior, good and bad, not just bad, but good ones too. Every behavior, every human behavior in existence is built on 2 principles, repetition and association. Make sense?
Absolutely.
Okay. Repetition. Anything you do that you repeat over and over again becomes etched indelibly within your consciousness. That's the repetition part. Association. On some level, you're acknowledging with your consciousness, I like this. This is good. I get pleasure from this. Good or bad, I get pleasure from this. So let's take junk food as the example. We already know junk food is bad. We're not dumb. We already know that smoking is bad. We're aware of this. We're not ignorant to this. And yet, first of all, repeat it. We do it over and over again, creating that habitual external behavior, that physical act. And then while we're doing it, some part of us on a conscious level and subconscious is saying, I'm enjoying this. I'm getting pleasure from this. We are animals. We are primitive, primal animals. We are driven by pleasure and pain, right?
Yeah.
In the simplest terms, what drives all of us is the pursuit of pleasure and the avoidance of pain. Pleasure is very relative from person to person. What somebody finds pleasure in is something that is painful for someone else. All that matters is how we define it. Again, smoking, drugs, whatever, the bottom line is, while we're doing something, repeating it again and again and again, on some level, consciously, we are also assigning it with this definition that it is a pleasurable thing. I enjoy this. I get a benefit from this. I get relaxation. I get less stress, whatever it may be. So our subconscious mind, which is in 88% in charge of our decision making, 88%, our subconscious mind defines pleasure as that which is familiar, nothing else. It doesn't know the difference between good or bad, good or evil. It only knows that which you teach it. Whatever you teach it, whatever you with repetition and association, the subconscious mind is getting programmed to accept that as pleasure.
Even the things that aren't giving me pleasure, like habits that I just keep going to, but I'm like, why do I keep doing this? I don't want to do this.
Right, because by the time, and again, we quote this later on in a session too. By the time, and I say this is a quote from my own Project Addiction book. By the time you realize you are an addict, you've been one a long time. By the time you realize you have a bad habit, you've had it a long time because of repetition and association. So yes, even though you realize and recognize that it is a bad thing now, too late, you already installed and programmed and etched it into your brain. You already did it so many times. When you did think it was pleasurable in the beginning, when it was relatively harmless, you did it so often and so for so long, by the time you have a conscious realization that it's not good for you, too late, you've been doing it a long time. So yes, the problem is that when you constantly realize that something is bad and you know it, when you get right down to it, you know it all along. You knew that smoking was bad. You knew it when the first time you ever did it. And yet people do it because it gives them a perceived sense of pleasure. I get something out of this. They don't think about the consequences until much later. And again, by the time you realize you are an addict, you've been one a long time. That statement right there, I can't tell you how many people were like floored by that in my session with them as addicts. By the time you realize you are an addict, by the time you realize you've got a bad habit, you've had it a long time. And it's already embedded into your consciousness. It's already got foundations. It's cemented. So we've done this through repetition and association. Again, our mind, our subconscious mind defines pleasure as that which is familiar and it fears the unknown, that which is unfamiliar. So therefore, even though you say, hey, this is bad for me now, smoking, drinking, junk food, whatever, this is bad, the subconscious mind says, huh? So says you. You can't just make up your mind and change that. You program me to believe this is pleasurable and good. My job to protect it under any circumstances. I don't know the difference between good or bad. All I know is what you taught me. You taught me to be familiar with this, so therefore it is good. Therefore, my job to protect it. So if you try to stop it, what I'm going to do is I'm going to cause you anxiety, fear, anger, all kinds of negative feelings that you don't want to deal with. When you make me feel withdrawals from the thing that you taught me is pleasurable, I'm going to make you suffer. I'm going to make you feel anxious, make you feel angry, make you lose control. Until you give me what I want, I'm going to be a tantruming child, pouting and screaming in the background, and in the foreground, until you give me what I want. That donut that you taught me is pleasurable, that is now making you fat and you need to stop, well, too late. I now define it as pleasure because you taught me that. So therefore, when you stop cold turkey, I'm going to punish you. I'm going to make you feel anxious. I'm going to tempt you. I'm going to make this desire overwhelm you so you can't stop thinking about it. Go ahead and try. Stop thinking about it. Let me give you a little example. You'll like this. This one's fun. All right? I want you to close your eyes for a second. Got them closed?
Yes.
All right, close your eyes for a second. Now I want you to visualize an apple, okay? Now, describe the apple to me. What color is it?
It's a Honey Crisp, so it's red and it has hints of yellow in it.
Okay, did I say see a red apple? No. I said see an apple, and your mind conjured up a red one, right? Other people might see a yellow one or a green one, right? Depending on who you are. Now, whatever you do Do not see a purple apple. Do not see it. Whatever you do, do not see a purple apple. Stop seeing a purple. Why are you seeing a purple apple when I'm telling you not to? Why are you doing that? You're doing it, aren't you?
I'm trying.
You're trying not to, but I'm sitting there and I'm telling you not to. But you're doing it, aren't you?
I'm trying by telling myself to see a different color.
That's right. The more you try not to see it, the more you end up seeing it. Right? That's the way the mind works. The more I tell you not to see the red apple, the more you're going to see it.
The more you tell your child not to do something, the more they want to do it.
Right? Automatically. As a matter of fact, they weren't even going to do it until you told them not to.
Yeah, they had no interest.
Yeah, no, I can't tell you how many things I did. I only did because my mom told me. I was like, oh well, shit, I wouldn't even think about it till now, but now I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
So not only do I get to do this thing, but I get to piss you off too. A double win. Absolutely, I'm doing it, Mom. You got it. That's where the whole reverse psychology thing comes through. We need to keep this in mind. That all behaviors are created by that simple formula, repetition and association. Whatever you do again and again and again, and as you do it, as you associate with it as something that's pleasurable, it's becoming a habit. By the time you realize it's a habit, it'll be too late. It's already been one a long time. Now, the good news is this. I've now cursed the darkness. I've told you how the bad things are what it does. Here's the good part. The same formula works for good habits and good behaviors too. Anything you do over and over again, such as working out, eating well, meditating, praying, helping people. Anything you do that's good, if you do it again and again and again, and while you're doing it, reminding yourself, this is a good thing. This feels good. This is healthy. Even if it doesn't feel good. Well, I may not be enjoying this health food right now, but I'm going to eventually. It's good for me. Constantly overriding the subconscious and redefining what pleasure is by telling it. I'm telling you what pleasure is. The subconscious mind is back to saying, I want the donut. That's good. No, I'm redefining that. So instead of saying, no, subconscious mind, the donut's not good, because the subconscious mind is going to say, bullshit, yes it is. Instead say, okay, the donut is good, but so is the carrot. So is the vegetables. So are those. So I'm not telling you this is bad. I'm simply telling you to think that this is also good. So slowly, to the progressive process, we replace the bad with the good. We recondition, remind the mind to redefine what is good and what is bad. Because your subconscious mind doesn't care, doesn't know the difference. It only knows what you teach it. It's a monkey, only knows what you teach it. So this is the formula. It's surprisingly simple. Now here's the cool thing. You can apply this to absolutely anything and everything by varying magnitudes. Obviously, it seems like stopping a bad habit of junk food eating is going to be easier than stopping a heroin addiction. And I can tell you for sure it generally is, because one has a whole different aspect of physical addiction, dependency, blah, blah, blah. But I can tell you that of all the addicts I've worked with, from everything from shopping to shoplifting to sex to pornography to heroin, the suffering, the commitment, the willpower, the dedication, commitment, and work and effort put into solving them was virtually equal to all of them. The heroin addict says, well, that's bullshit. I can tell you that stopping shopping, having a shopping addiction is not going to be the same. It's going to be a cakewalk. For you, you don't have a problem with shopping. But for them, it tears them apart. Because their subconscious mind is rebelling and tearing at you. It's causing you fear, anxiety, and all the other things, because its job is to keep existing behaviors in place under any circumstance, any way that it can. Make sense?
Yeah, I think that's important because it also brings in this aspect of judgment that we have against ourselves or against other people about change, and that something should be easier, and so therefore we judge it. But we all have our challenges, and they all are really hard for us.
Client after client would come in and see me over the years and say things like that. Well, I'm embarrassed to even say it. I mean, I know you deal with like heroin addicts and people that are dealing with very severe pathologies, and my problem is going to be, you're going to laugh at it. It's like, really, it's going to be stupid. And for example, one woman said to me, I'm a shoplifter, not a kleptomaniac. I'm a shoplifter. Let me make one that's a little bit more common so people can relate to it. Shopping. One of the most common problems that I would get people would seek me out for is shopping. I spend too much money. I shouldn't spend it. I have stuff that I don't need, and I buy things that I don't really want or need because I just can't stop. I think it's an addiction. And they would be embarrassed thinking, you know what? I feel guilty for coming to you about this because it's something that I should just be able to control. We're not talking about drugs or alcohol, for God's sake. We're talking about shopping. And I explained to them, do you realize that your brain chemistry and your neurology treats it the exact same way? That when you deprive yourself of this behavior, cold turkey style, it caused the exact same endorphins, the exact same brain chemistry that takes place for the drug addict. The difference is your addiction doesn't have a physical dependency because we're not adding a chemical in, but it has a chemical dependency because as you shop, you're creating endorphins, your SDNEs, your serotonin, dopamine, norepinephrine, and endorphins that you're causing them to go into your favor to cause you pleasure. And deprive yourself of that, you're experiencing the exact same thing a drug addict has, which is withdrawals. And they're painful and they're torturous. This would make them feel a lot better and think, you know what? So I'm not a weak loser. Oh my God, you're not. Trust me.
That makes me feel better.
Right?
Yeah.
Now, it should make you feel better to the point where you're going to get the credit card and go to the store. I don't want to do that. I'm simply saying that you should feel okay with the fact that it's hard and challenging. It doesn't make you weak. It is indeed some of the toughest addictions I ever had to work with people with. Shopping was one of them. A very common one of the most prolific ones. I made a lot of money off helping with people with shopping addictions.
I'm sure it's hard because we still have to shop. We still need to go grocery shopping. We still need to do these things.
What you just said is absolutely paramount because here's the thing. Because heroin has a stigma. Drugs are stigma. They're stigmatized. They're very bad. Everyone agrees that that's a bad behavior. So you got to hide it. You got to conceal it. Shopping, it's everywhere. You got to do it to live. So it's socially acceptable. So you can go out there and participate in your addiction without anybody even knowing it. And people aren't pointing it out. The moment you do any heroin, people are wagging their finger and say, that's got to stop. But if you're shopping, people don't even know. Same with drinking. One of the reasons drinking gets out of control is because it's socially acceptable. They serve at a ball game, for God's sakes. I'd be at a Dodger game, just order a beer. Sure, why not? I might be an alcoholic, but who's going to check? Do I have to show with my ID, any ID that shows that I'm not an alcoholic? Hopefully someday you do. Hopefully once you have 4 DUIs on your record, as it kind of is, once you're recognized as having an alcohol problem, then you should get something on your driver's license that shows that you have to show that you can't buy alcohol.
Yeah.
You know? That just makes sense. So yes, the socially acceptable ones like gambling. I mean, this whole gambling thing that's online gambling now.
Oh
listen,
my gosh, it's gonna
right?
It's blowing up.
It's blowing up, and you see and part of me as a drug counselor, I'm like, Yahoo, bingo, I'm going to make a ton of money.
It's
Everyone's
really
going to
depressing.
it's going to get so, and at the very bottom of those ads and those commercials is, if you have a problem with gambling, please call blah, blah, blah. That's their legal obligation. It doesn't do shit. And let me tell you, I've helped people with real serious gambling problems, and a lot of them. And it is a tough nut to crack. Honestly, shopping, gambling, most behavioral addictions are far harder. You give me the choice between, hey, Scott, I'm going to pay you the same amount of money. You're going to make $5,000 off a shopping addict or $5,000 on a heroin addict. Give me the heroin addict any day of the week. Walk in the park for me. It's a basic formula. I know what to do. It's going to be hard for them, but for me, I know exactly what to do. Shopping and the things that are socially acceptable, those are way harder to beat. Way harder.
Yeah.
Very challenging. And again, the shame that goes with that because so many people, and this, I mean, I'm getting emotional about it. I mean, it is painful. I meet people, and that's indeed primarily women with the shopping addiction that are broken apart and they say, I don't know where to turn. Like, I don't even know if I have a problem. I know that I do know I have a problem, but I don't even know where to turn. I can't come out and say this. I mean, that's not a problem. I got to just get a hold of myself. Like, no, you have a chemical and neurological and psychological problem. It is an addiction. And let me explain to you how it works. It's the exact same principles, same mechanical principles as any addiction. The fact that you're not adding an external chemical substance in is just one part of the factors. It's not the whole thing. You still are having, again, psychological, physiological, and neurological conditions taking place when you participate in this behavior, causing it and creating and sustaining it. Now, to wrap this up and get into our guests, again, the short route is just this. As you mentioned earlier, and I'm pretty sure you learned it from me, is to rather than remove a behavior, what do?
Replace.
You can't stop shopping. And let me tell you again, the creative ways that I strategize to help shopping addicts solve their problem, I had to get very creative, because they still got to go to stores. And I had to keep someone out of the store. I had to take credit cards away. I had to prevent them from going to the store at all. Now, nowadays, you can shop online, which makes it harder and easier. But I mean, the suburban mom that was coming to me with a shopping addiction, she still had to go to the grocery store. She still had to go buy groceries for her family. She still had to go to stores, you know? She's like, I'm tempted everywhere I go. Same with the alcoholic. I'm like, what am I going to do? Like, I got to go buy groceries. When I go to the grocery store, I don't see just groceries. I see alcohol. I see the alcohol aisle. And I can't get away from it. I got to go to the store. They don't have stores without alcohol, you know? Imagine the alcoholic, the suffering they're going through, that they can't go to the grocery store without being confronted with their addiction. That sucks.
Yeah.
In the Midwest, in Ohio, where I was born, you can't buy liquor at a liquor store. It has to be a state-sanctioned liquor store. There's like a DMV kind of, there's like an actual office that you go and buy liquor at. At least back in the day. I don't know if it's like that now, but that's how it was when I was going back there in my 30s.
I think it varies state to state.
It does, And I was like, are you shitting me? I want to have a beer on a Sunday to watch a football game, and A, I can't buy it on a Sunday because it's Ohio. And secondly, when I do, I got to go on Monday through Saturday, and I have to go to the government-sanctioned liquor store to buy whiskey, to buy beer. No, it wasn't beer. I think it was whiskey, hard liquor. It was surreal,
Yeah.
But it kind of makes sense too. But again, I can't tell you how many alcoholics that I worked with, and they're like pleading with me, saying like, this guy is saying to me, I went to the store to buy some dinner. I don't like to buy groceries. I went to the store to buy dinner. I went to buy a steak and make myself some dinner. I walked out with a bottle of scotch.
Yeah.
I mean, I had to go get dinner, and I had to walk by the liquor. It's right there at the front of the store. I had to walk right past all that. I'm not strong enough to do that. And so one of the things I did for him is I said, look, from now on, you're going to have a chaperone when you go grocery shopping, and you're going to go grocery shopping for a week, not a day. You cannot go to the grocery store every day for your meal, because that's a way your subconscious mind is sabotaging your commitment to be sober by creating this excuse that why you need to go into the store and be tempted.
Yeah.
Right? So giving you some examples here. And again, the most important factor is, again, to understand the theory of the mind, to understand the fundamentals of it, that all habits are created by repetition and association, and the way the mind defines pleasure and pain. We are designed to pursue pleasure and avoid pain, and the way the mind defines pleasure and pain is that which is familiar and that which is unfamiliar. No matter what you try to stop, it's going to resist it. It's going to cause you to suffer, give you anxiety, depression, etc. And once you give it what it wants, it's going to give you pleasure. We understand these basic components and apply these across the board. What you're going to see in these sessions coming up with these people that are our guests, so I'm going to teach them how to apply these. And again, as we talk to Courtney about her smoking cessation resolution and to be more creatively expressive, and Pilar about spiritual development and getting more in fit and more in shape, all these kind of things. Whether you have a smoking addiction or not, or smoking resolution or not, you'll benefit from hearing Courtney's session, because, and I'm not teaching you, giving you a fish, I'm teaching you how to fish. Use the formula and adapt it to whatever behavior you want to solve. The knowledge is there. Knowledge is power. To use this knowledge to adapt it to whatever resolution that you have. And I encourage you to do both. Make 2 resolutions, whether it's for the new year or just ongoing. 2 resolutions. One is personal, general self-improvement. Lose weight, stop a bad habit, something that's very general, something that's very physical and material. And then make a deeper one. Something that's going to help you with your growth and evolution as a human being. Your consciousness and your spirit. I encourage you to do both and work on them both. Any questions?
Let's get into hearing what our guests have to say and
All right.
explore this further.
So this is a big topic. And what we're going to do is, rather than make this one 5-hour podcast episode, which will be with all the sessions we had, I'm going to separate them. We got this one that kind of introduces it. We've got another brief introduction that we did earlier and with our first guest. And then we're going to separate the sessions with every individual separately, so you can choose the ones you want to listen to. And again, I encourage you, if you see the one with Courtney, for example, and say, well, I don't have a smoking problem, so that's not one I'm going to listen to. I encourage you to listen to the Courtney one for a couple, and all of them for a couple of different reasons. One, because even though you may not have a smoking problem, but what we go over in that topic is applicable to pretty much everything and anything. And that one particular session is very inspiring, very beautiful, and it gets very philosophical, and it just has some beautiful things. And again, all these sessions, we never know where they're going to end up. What we begin with is very fundamental and basic, that appeals to the conscious and the mind. Where we end up is somewhere deeper and somewhere more profound, somewhere far more beautiful. That's the beauty of what it is that I do for a living, is I get to experience and help facilitate change and growth. And nothing more fulfilling than that for me.
Well, tell us now.
All right.
What's your resolution?
So here's my resolution. All right. Happy New Year. Let's say goodbye here.
Thanks, everybody, for listening. Really appreciate it. Hope you guys have a good New Year.
Hope to see you soon. My name is Scott Spacky. I'm your polymath host. This is my executive producer, Chloe, and co-host. And we love just talking about stuff and make it interesting.
Talk to you next time.
Until next time, leave your third eye open. Full episodes, services, knowledge, and all you'll ever need on scottsbackie.com and life-mind.com.
Ocean collides with the sun.
Change your mind and change your life. Break bad habits, solve addictions from alcohol to ecstasy, shopping to sex. Solve anxiety, depression, confidence, and motivation. Find direction and purpose. Life is bright when it is good and we are living to our potential. Life is long and dull when our potential remains dormant. Your potential and purpose are already inside you and waiting for you. It doesn't need to be created. It needs to be uncovered and revealed. My services include live counseling, video courses, books, and mentoring through email and text. Visit scottsbackie.com for your options. Let's get started. Are you ready?